everyone. My name is Mason Borlick, and this is my final presentation for our data visualization class. This was a really fun last assignment that made me think about myself and the things I enjoy in a really creative way. I hope you enjoy. When I started to think about the areas of my life that I wanted to highlight for you, it got me thinking about how much my life has changed in the last 10 years and how my interests and priorities are in some cases drastically different. Gone are the days of hanging out with friends just trying to figure out what game was on ESPN that night. Now, weekends are filled with critical decisions such as which movie to watch with my two kids, Frozen or Cinderella, both for the 50th time. Time that used to be spent watching football games is now spent on DIY projects around the house or learning more about my faith. Today, though, I want to focus on 3 different interests of mine that I'd like to tell you more about. The type of music I'm into, my recent do-it-yourself home remodeling addiction, and my love for all things spicy foods. I've always had an eclectic mix of music likes. In the last few years, I've gotten more into genres like blues, folk, red dirt country, and bluegrass. Growing up, my parents always talked about the music scene in Austin, Texas, and I got to experience it firsthand when I lived and worked in Texas for 4 years after my undergrad. This map shows the locations where my favorite artists were born and raised. The geographic spread across the country isn't very surprising, but what is surprising is my assumption that all music in Texas was born in Austin. This is definitely wrong. If we take a look at the zoomed-in map of the South, you can see about half the bands that I really enjoy are from these seven states shown. And out of the 22 artists that hail from Texas, only 3 of them come from the Austin area. Take some notes of the names shown and give them a listen when you get a chance. This love of Texas music had to come along with me though, as my wife and I moved from Houston back to the Chicago suburbs in 2012. The next spring, we bought our first house, and that kicked off my new favorite hobby, any and all things do-it-yourself. This graph charts my progress of home renovations and tool buys as measured by home center purchases through the years. The actual amounts are hidden to shield the innocent, mainly my bank account. This habit was necessitated when our new house was immediately flooded by a 100-year torrential rain only a month after we moved in. Nothing like a trial by fire to get you going. I spent the next year and a half learning anything and everything I needed to from YouTube videos, building up my tool collection over time, and slowly making progress totally redoing our basement. Over the next couple of years, other major projects that you can see in the graph included a brand new back deck and a minor kitchen remodel. It wasn't until I stepped back and looked at these purchases in totality that I realized that summertime equals project time in my house. Each summer seems to be punctuated by a major purchase that leads to something new. These projects are something I'm really proud of, as I went from barely being able to swing a hammer 5 years ago and now consider myself a journeyman DIYer. While handling power tools may be my latest hobby, my oldest true love is enjoying spicy foods. My late night food choices are usually kicked off by telling the waitress or cook to give me the spiciest thing you have. This may or may not have gotten me in trouble a few times before. Not only do I love all things spicy, but I consider myself a sommelier of sorts for hot sauces and how to properly pair them with foods. At any one time, you'll find at least all of the following in my fridge or pantry at home. My favorite part of moving back to Chicago was the addition of giardiniera into this rotation. It pairs excellent with an Italian sausage. If we look at the wider network of spicy pairings, you can see a few takeaways. Cholula, a Mexican hot sauce, is exceptional at pairing with breakfast foods. Anything with eggs, that's your go-to. You can also see from the size of the source nodes that crushed red pepper flakes and sliced jalapenos are the most versatile choices for amping up your dishes. I used to be a prolific user of Tabasco sauce on everything, but have in recent years relegated it to dishes where its acidity can be really useful. Things like gumbo, chili, and oysters. I feel extremely confident in saying that after years of schooling and almost a decade in the workforce, this here is probably the most important visualization I've ever created. Only kind of kidding. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this presentation and feel like you know me a bit better. I want to thank Professor Egger for this semester. This was truly one of the most useful courses I've had in this program. I wish everyone the best and hope to see some of you at graduation in a few weeks. Thank you and have a good day.